The glass shattered against the kitchen floor. A jagged scream of crystal that sliced through the suffocating silence. I stood frozen, my hand still outstretched. The wine I'd meant to sip now pooling like blood at my feet. Across the counter, Sarah's laughter died mid-breath, her eyes wide, not with shock but with something darker. Guilt, maybe, or fear. It was a joke, she stammered, her voice thin as the lie it carried. I didn't mean it. But the words lingered, heavy as the August heat pressing through the open window. I regret our marriage. And my own reply, raw and unfiltered, echoed in my skull, me too. I didn't look at her as I crouched to gather the shards, my fingers trembling, slicing against a jagged edge. Blood welled, a bright bead against my skin, but I barely felt it. My mind was elsewhere, snagged on the way her phone had buzzed incessantly all evening. How she'd angled it away from me, her thumbs dancing in secret. The way her laughter had sounded different lately, sharper, like it belonged to someone else. You're bleeding, she said, her voice softer now, almost tender. But I didn't trust it. I didn't trust anything anymore. The kitchen smelled of garlic and regret, the remnants of the dinner we'd barely touched. Candles flickered on the table, their glow mocking the intimacy we'd lost. I stood, dropping the glass fragments into the sink, and met her gaze. Her hazel eyes, once my anchor, darted away, landing on the countertop, the floor, anywhere but me. It was just a dumb thing to say, Tom, she whispered. You know I love you. But her words felt like a script, rehearsed and hollow. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But the air between us crackled with unspoken truths, and I couldn't shake the image of her phone lighting up with a name I didn't recognize. Evan. It had started weeks ago, hadn't it? Small things easily dismissed. Her late nights at the office, her new perfume, sharp, musky, not the floral she'd worn for years. The way she'd linger in the bathroom. The door locked, her voice muffled as she spoke to someone in hushed tones. I'd told myself it was work stress, her promotion to partner at the law firm eating up her time. I'd rationalized the distance. The way her touch felt perfunctory, like a task checked off a list. But tonight, her joke wasn't funny. It was a blade, and it had cut too deep. I wiped my bloody hand on a dish towel, the stain spreading like an accusation. Who's Evan? I asked, my voice low, steady, though my heart pounded like a war drum. Her face froze, a deer caught in headlights, and for a moment, I thought she'd deny it. But then her shoulders sagged, and she leaned against the counter, her fingers gripping the edge as if to anchor herself. Evan's just a colleague, she said too quickly. We're working on the same case. You know how intense it gets. Her eyes flicked to mine, pleading, but there was a tremor in her voice, a crack in the facade. I wanted to scream, to demand the truth, but instead, I nodded, my jaw tight. I didn't trust myself to speak. Not yet. The rest of the evening passed in a haze of forced normalcy. We cleaned the kitchen in silence, the clink of dishes and the hum of the dishwasher filling the void where our laughter used to be. Upstairs, she slipped into bed, her back to me, the space between us a chasm. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the shadows twisting like my thoughts. Her phone sat on the nightstand, its screen dark but alive with secrets. I imagined snatching it, scrolling through her messages, but the thought made me sick, not with anger, but with fear. What if I was right? What if I was wrong? The next morning, she left early, claiming a breakfast meeting. I didn't ask questions. Instead, I poured coffee and sat at the kitchen table, the silence pressing against my temples. My eyes landed on her laptop, left open on the counter. She'd been careless, or maybe she thought I wouldn't dare. My hands shook as I opened it, the screen glowing to life. Her email was still logged in, and there it was, buried in a thread labeled Case Notes. Meet me at the usual spot. 7 p.m. Can't stop thinking about you. E. My stomach churned, bile rising in my throat. I clicked through the thread, each message a dagger. You make me feel alive again. This is dangerous, but I don't care. Delete this after you read it. The words blurred as my eyes burned. Not with tears but with rage, betrayal, and something softer, grief. I wanted to confront her, to shatter her world as she'd shattered mine, but a part of me still clung to doubt. Maybe I'd misunderstood. Maybe it was a mistake. I didn't touch her phone. I didn't need to. The emails were enough. each one a brick in the wall crumbling between us. I spent the day in a fog, replaying our 7 years together. Her laugh at our wedding, the way she'd clung to me during her father's funeral, the quiet mornings when we'd planned our future. Had it all been a lie? Or had I failed her somehow, pushed her into someone else's arms? When she came home that evening, her smile was too bright, her voice too cheerful. "Good day?" she asked, tossing her keys onto the counter. I didn't answer. I just stared, my heart a fist in my chest. She faltered, her smile slipping. "Tom, what's wrong?" I could have lied. I could have played the game, let the suspicion fester. But the words spilled out, raw and jagged. "I saw the emails, Sarah. With Evan." Her face drained of color, her mouth opening, closing, like a fish gasping for air. "It's not what you think," she started, but I cut her off. "Don't," I said, my voice breaking. "Don't lie to me. Not now." The kitchen seemed to shrink, the walls closing in, the air thick with the scent of her perfume. His perfume, I realized now. She sank into a chair, her hands covering her face, and for the first time, I saw her not as my wife but as a stranger, her edges blurred by secrets. "It was a mistake," she whispered, tears streaking her cheeks. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I was lonely, Tom. You were always working, always distant. I needed someone." Her words were a punch, each one landing harder than the last. Lonely? I'd been here, hadn't I? Pouring my soul into our life, our home, while she'd been slipping away. I wanted to hate her. I wanted to scream, to walk out and never look back. But instead I asked, "Do you love him?" The question hung between us, a guillotine. She didn't answer, but her silence was louder than any confession. I nodded, my throat tight, and turned away. I couldn't look at her. Not yet. That night, I slept on the couch, the darkness swallowing me whole. I thought of her joke, her careless words that had unraveled everything. "I regret our marriage." And my own reply, not a joke but a truth I hadn't known I felt. "Me too." But the real twist came the next morning, when I found her phone on the coffee table, a new message glowing on the screen. I told him, "It's over. I choose you, Sarah." I stared at the words, my heart a battlefield of hope and distrust. She'd chosen me, but was it enough? Could I forgive her? Could I forgive myself for missing the signs, for letting her drift? The house was quiet, her footsteps soft as she descended the stairs. I turned to face her, the phone in my hand, and for the first time in days, our eyes met, raw, broken, but still searching for something worth saving.